Hey everyone, welcome to this month's Tier 3 video, September 2020. Today I wanted to ask myself and you some questions from my business book for school. They're very reflective questions, and I'm hoping that the answers will be thought-provoking, because they are sort of touching on the more existential type things, I guess, or just general values, things like that. So let's get started. The first question is, my ideal life. What would I do with my life if I could do anything, and why? As I've gotten older and more exposed through documentaries and the internet to the life of a singer, pop star, band member, anything in that sort of niche, I wonder more and more if it would have been a good thing for me. My gut reaction to this question is to say that I would want to be a singer, a famous singer, so that I could entertain and dance and sing and put my feelings out there in such a huge and powerful way, and have my thoughts and everything be translated through the medium that I feel most connected to. Music is incredibly moving to me, I guess. I attach a lot of emotion with music, so I feel something, and being able to sing, perform, create in that sort of environment sounds like my ideal life. The secondary perks of which would be that I would have a lot of money and privilege and experience, going places, seeing things, trying things that I can't afford in my current life. So that would be my gut reaction. If I were to look at this question more through the lens of what I know now, I think that the age that the music industry wants for females in their sort of height is like anywhere from 16 to maybe 21, 22. It's young, and I know who I was during those years, and although I may not have had the same upsets or the same circumstances in terms of the actual things that happened, I still think that my upbringing would have led me down the same paths, just in different variations. And I think that those could have been much more extreme if I had been wealthy and famous, Fame really doesn't look that great as from where I sit right now. I guess it seems like it causes people to feel hollow and like they don't really have anyone in their life. And I think that when you're going from having thousands of people cheering you on and giving you all of that adrenaline and making you feel like you are on top of the world. And then you come off the stage and you feel like you have nothing. I think that that would be dissociating. I think it would lead to a lot of difficulty in mending any emotional issues. And I already know that I have a predisposition, I guess, to drugs. So I feel like I would have had more access to drugs and, could have very well killed myself in that way, accidentally or even intentionally, due to the emotional pendulum swinging so far from one side to the next. So I think in a way, even though I didn't get to fulfill my dream, and even though I'm not the person that I thought I would be when I was a child, maybe in a weird way that's for the better, I take it as a bit of a personal failure that I didn't achieve those things. It's hard to go from believing that you're gonna be famous and be an entertainer to accepting that you are not that special, I know that sounds kind of weird, but if I had to boil it down into a statement, I guess that's really what is at the heart of it. Is like, oh, well, I didn't do it. I'm just like everyone else, and I'm gonna have a normal life and a normal job and make normal money and pay normal taxes, and who knows? I could always end up becoming severely wealthy anyway. There's plenty of things that could change from here on out, so I'm not saying I'm damned to a life of mediocrity or anything. It's just a mental shift from I'm gonna be on the stage one day and I'm gonna show everyone, and I'm gonna be able to really get myself, my feelings heard. And I mean, right there is like the whole psychology behind me, the fact that I wanted the biggest stage possible for people to hear how I felt is the obvious issue that I was having at home, not feeling heard or taken seriously, my feelings being trampled on instead of respected, and being made to feel like the things that made me me were not valuable. So I wonder if that really would be my ideal life. So I don't know if that's what I would say, if that's what I should say. Like if I had a magic lamp and the genie asked me for my wishes, I'm not sure that I would still wish to be a famous pop star. I don't know. Maybe semi-famous with a small cult following and good friends. Okay, so I'm trying to think if I have like a plan B to that. Maybe interior design. Maybe. I don't know. Like, let me put it this way. If the rules of our current world and society didn't apply, I would love to be able to make full houses, design the architecture, decorate the whole inside, choose all the landscaping, make everything the way that I wanted it to over and over again. Like, design a house, furnish it, make it beautiful, and then sell it, I guess. Yeah. But I don't want to do all of the actual work that it takes to flip houses like that. Maybe someday. But I more mean if I could, like, snap and create what I'm seeing in my head. Okay, the next sort of category is about happiness. And the first prompt says, the people I know who seem to be happy are happy because... Do I know anyone who seems happy? I don't think I do. I don't think I have anyone in my life who is generally happy. Actually, maybe one person, one of you, ironically, comes off as a very stable and happy individual. Obviously, I don't know what goes on in their day-to-day life, but they seem generally okay. And I think that part of that has to do with security, job security, relationship security, intellectual security. I don't know about their finances at all, so I'm not sure. And I know that they even have things that do still bother them, so I don't think I can answer this question. So we'll move on to the next one. I am happiest when I have a few things that tie, I guess. Riding my bike while listening to music when nobody knows where I am and just cruising. Being up in the Cape Cod, Provincetown area and being able to just go wild and chill. And I think the third one would be listening to music and singing in my car while I'm driving. I think those are my happiest places. I also love eating, but I wouldn't necessarily say that that's like one of my happiest places. It's just a thing I like. What is my most treasured memory and why? I'm gonna let you think about this too, because I think this is a hard one. Because now I'm having to like rank memories. Most treasured too. That's a very specific thing. So if it's a treasure, it's something that you want to keep hidden, or not hidden, but secure and kind kind of hoard, keep it to yourself, something that you would want to protect, and also something that is, of course, like meaningful to you. And I wonder if this means like a single instance or a general memory, because I could say something like being at my grandmother's house for Christmas, but some parts of those experiences actually sucked. It wasn't all good, and it wasn't a single memory. It's like the conglomerate feeling of Christmas and family and cousins and exploration and all that snow. So I think my most treasured memory might be riding my bike before school when I was really young. And there's a particular day that I always remember when I think of that. I did it many, many times, but there was one day in particular where I just felt very like in touch with nature. I befriended that chipmunk, and the birds just seemed to be flying along with me. Everything just felt very connected, and the weather was beautiful, and it smelled like waffles and syrup in my neighborhood, and it was just great. My other kind of treasured memory, I guess, would be there was and again, this is more a set of memories than a single serving. There was a footbridge, a wooden footbridge, that crossed a tiny little inlet, I think is what it's called. Like the edge of a pond came to a rounded, sort of boggy creek area. And the footbridge was probably only 6 or 7 feet long, and it had a railing on one side, also wooden, and it was sort of in a grove of trees, and there was a perfect view out to the lake, but anyone else around the lake couldn't see you. And myself and 2 of my neighborhood girlfriends and actually 3 of my neighborhood girlfriends and our one male friend who was consistently hanging out with us at the time, we used to go and stand on that footbridge and look out at the lake like we were 80 years old. And we would just talk about shit, and we would watch the ducks and just hang out. Like when the weather was nice, we would go door to door and get each member of the group, ask if they want to go to the bridge, and Phil, the boy, was closest, so we would get him last and then walk out to the bridge and just stand there for hours. And it was so nice. It was kind of like a place where we could each talk about whatever was bothering us or things that we were looking forward to, and we felt alone, you know. So yeah, that I think would be another sort of treasured memory, but it was, I mean, we did that hundreds of times. The next category is relationships. And the first question is, when I look at my home life, the activities that are the most worthy are. I don't really know what that question means. I guess it's saying, what do I do at home that is worthwhile? What a weird thing to ask. I work here. Reading? I mean, I also like watching shows and movies, so to me that feels worthwhile, but you know, growing up there was always so much rhetoric about like the TV is bad and you're gonna get brainwashed and you shouldn't just sit and watch TV all day. So I think part of me still feels guilty and like that's not something that you're allowed to openly enjoy, but I do like it. But worthwhile, according to whom? I guess according to me. I mean, eating, reading, sleeping, and watching TV. I don't know if I'm answering that right. Let me know if you have a different interpretation of that. The next question is, the things I most value in a relationship are honesty, loyalty, trust, of course, which kind of comes along with those. A compatible sense of humor. Ability to discuss things intellectually. And I guess just this general like comfortable feeling. Aside from the neighborhood kids that I grew up with, Matt and Jasmine have been my only other two relationships that have felt really, really comfortable. Like I could show up in anything, we could talk about anything, I could say anything, however stupid or whatever, vulgar, anything. Like I could completely be myself with Matt and Jasmine, and that feeling of like, I don't know if I want to call it belonging, but maybe that's the way to put it. I just being around them feels effortless, and I really value that because I don't have to worry about anything. I get to have a good time in someone else's company, and I know that they're gonna be my friend always, you know, that we're gonna always have that bond. I think that part is kind of really rare, but just to a certain degree, being comfortable with the person is important. And of course, you know, my other points that I already noted are helpful in those situations too. Like Matt was probably the funniest person that I've ever known, and Jasmine cracks me up all the time, so we laugh a lot. And I laughed a lot with my neighborhood friends too growing up. And we also are never really like scared to oppose the other person's opinion. If I wear an outfit and Jasmine thinks it looks dumb or slutty, she'll be like, "What up, ho? You look like shit." You know, like it'll be honest and it doesn't hurt because you know that that person means well no matter what. Like, they're never trying to hurt you. They always have your back. So that's the loyalty factor, I guess. Okay. Who and what have been major influences in my values development? I mean, we all already know my parents have been the what not to do guide for my life. So they have been a major influence in a contradictory way, I guess. And then in terms of other influences on my values, the We Sing VHS series that I've talked about a few times. We Sing in Sillyville, and We Sing Big Rock Candy Mountain. Those were movies that all it was moral lessons, like, you hurt someone's feelings, here's what you should do. You lied to someone, here's what you should do. You should always include everyone, even if they're weird. You make, one of the songs that they sing is, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other's gold. So it kind of was always teaching me to be inclusive and kind, and even that Grandpa's Magical Toy Box movie or whatever, there was a lying scene in that one, like who stole the cookie from the cookie jar. And I think the actual real children steal Grandpa's key to his toy box. So, you know, there's someone does something bad and then it gets resolved. So, as dumb as it might sound, I think those three particular movies, and maybe some shows like Barney and Dragon Tales, I'm trying to think what else was like really moral. I don't know. Mainly media. Family Matters. I watched a shitload of Family Matters. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay. I'm trying to see. There's another section called Core Values, and I'm just trying to pick one question to sort of close on, since it's been a while, and I don't want to bore anyone. God, some of these are so, like, tragic sounding. If I only had 1 year to live, I would concentrate on what? Good God. That's a little too deep for me right now. I guess I'll try to answer. What is the greatest accomplishment of my life? What do I hope to do that is as great or even better? I think the greatest accomplishment of my life is the process of getting away from drugs and my family. I think that those two things were the hardest things that I had to do, and the things that have benefited me most after doing them, and the things that took the most grit to accomplish. I know those don't seem like one specific thing, but I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. So what do I hope to do that is as great or even better? I kind of hope to do the reverse, like the flip side, I guess, to make real life, local friend or friends that I feel good and comfortable with, have friendships that are meaningful to me in my actual life. And opposite to doing drugs, I would like to have my own massage business, massage therapy, and be my own boss in that way, supporting myself to the life that I want to live. So yeah, that would be that. I hope that you were able to, maybe if you wanted to, think about your own answers to these questions. I didn't look at these ahead of time. I looked to find them on the page, but I didn't premeditate what I was going to answer with. So I'm probably going to be thinking about this for the rest of the day and wondering if I said the right thing, or if I didn't think of something that's more true. So that's probably going to bother me, but overall, I would say that even if I do come up with something that would have been a truer response, these things still are my gut reactions in this moment based on what my brain is recalling right now. So I still think that they're valid answers. And yeah, I think it's scary, but also kind of cool to think about these kinds of things. It really puts perspective on what you care about. It's very easy to be vague about what you want and what's important to you and what matters to you, that kind of thing. But it's different when you're actually like putting it on paper or saying it out loud. There are more details, and there's usually more concision in, like, you come to an actual answer, if that makes sense, instead of just a general thought or general feeling. Like, I never have thought before about what qualities I would want in my friends that I try to make from here on out. And now that I know the things that are important to me are very concrete, I can look for those things, and that will save me a lot of trouble in trying to become friends with people that I'm just not going to click with, you know. I'm still going to try. I think everyone deserves time and a chance, and people aren't always like who they are at the beginning. You kind of have to take some time to get to know them, but it will help me draw those boundaries and feel secure in those relationships. So that's pretty cool. And I always love thinking about my memories, of course, too, because it's just fun to revisit happy times. And it's also interesting to think about what influenced my development in terms of my values, because I think values are actually really important. And integrated into your everyday life, and probably in more ways than we really understand. So that's, maybe I should rewatch those movies and I'll have a better understanding of myself. Okay, well, I hope that this was interesting, relaxing, something positive for you. And